How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Ryan. So yesterday was kind of a crazy day. The Yankees obviously won a game, and then to go with it, they also released Josh Donaldson and Harrison Bader. So it's kind of a crazy situation that, we're just saving a couple bucks at this point, and the reasoning behind it was a little bit precarious, if you ask me. So essentially, the Yankees go, we wanted to give him an opportunity to go latch on with a team that may be making a postseason push. Riddle me what team wants Josh Donaldson at this point in his career, but I guess maybe he has value, maybe as a defender at third base, but kind of a crazy situation. They also waive Harrison Bader, and Bader obviously in a contract year, this is his opportunity to leverage that, and Bader's response to it was hilarious. They're interviewing him like right after he finds out, and he's like, I don't even know what waivers are. So he played yesterday, and then he knows he's not going to be on the team for much longer. If somebody picks him up, that is, if nobody picks him up, he'll, I guess revert back to the Yankees, but definitely a really interesting position for Donaldson and Bader to be in. But what does this mean? What does it mean that these two guys are now, I guess, essentially off the team, or they're not factors in our everyday lineup? Well, we want to talk about Jason Dominguez. We want to talk about some of the opportunities that will arise from the rosters expanding for the playoff kind of September picture. And then obviously now you cleared two roster spots. I guess Josh Donaldson roster spot was already cleared because he was on the 60-day IL. But now Bader in center field, who plays center field? And sure as hell not going to be IKF. So there's one guy I have in mind, and that's Jason Dominguez. But Ryan, what was your reaction to this? Because I didn't see it coming, but I'll tell you what, a lot of people are excited about it.
Yeah, so first and foremost, in Josh Donaldson's case, at the very least, I think Josh Donaldson being released, it was just a matter of they had to, right? Like, the Yankees, there was no way you could justify bringing Josh Donaldson back into the lineup without, just facing a myriad of criticism, and rightfully so. Like, it would have been the wrong move, don't get me wrong. And then in Josh Donaldson's case, like, I don't know if you saw that tweet he had where he was basically like, I want to thank all the organizations, I want to thank Yankee fans. It kind of sounds like he's done. I mean, he was toiling with retirement, mid-season. He was like, hey, I don't know if I'm going to play next year. And I kind of get it from his perspective. You're hurt twice, your hamstring gets hurt twice, you're not the player you were before. I get it, right? Like, I completely understand if he decides to go in the, hey, I'm going to retire direction. I wish him the best of luck in retirement if he does so, though that's not still confirmed. That's just me speculating. They had to let him go. He's just not good anymore. In Harrison Bader's case, I know his WRC plus isn't great, but he's still a plus defensive outfielder. Like, he has a 1.3 F WAR in like 308 play appearances, despite being such a bad hitter. He hits left-handed pitching really well. I think a team will pick him up to be a guy that you throw in center field and help against left-handed pitching. The team that I think would actually fit him the best would be like the Philadelphia Phillies. They really need outfield defense. They have Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos out there, and neither of those guys are good defenders. And Bryce Harper coming back from, I think it was Tommy John or some sort of UCL reconstruction surgery. So they need the defense, right? So I think there's going to be a market for Harrison Bader. Josh Donaldson, not so much. But as you alluded to, it gives the Yankees an opportunity in third base to keep playing Peraza, and then the outfield. I agree. I don't think Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is going to be their full-time center fielder. It would feel weird for them to say, hey, we wanted to stop playing Bader because we want to play younger players, and so we're going to give those reps to another guy who's also hitting free agency. And quite frankly, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa has done a lot of awesome things for the Yankees this year, but he has a 0.4 F WAR, man. Like, the guy's, it's not like he's... It's not like you're looking at him as like, yeah, you have to extend this guy. He's on pace to have a worse season in terms of WAR than he did last year. So I know he plays more positions, but end of the day, I feel like it's Jason Dominguez, right? Like, I think it kind of has to be. What do you think?
I mean, who else is it going to be? Because we don't really have anybody else on this roster, capable of playing that position. And as I alluded to yesterday, I don't know, say the last couple of days, if the Yankees are going full prospects, if they view Jason Dominguez as a potential starter in 2024, getting him major league at-bats right now is a net positive, right? You let him see some MLB pitching, you let him see the differences, you let him experience a little bit, just a tiny sample size of what the future looks like, what he's going to have to face in 2024. Those adjustments, sometimes a month of action, a month of a sample size, is enough to give a player enough information and data to say, okay, I need to tweak this, I need to work on this, that slider is going to kick my ass, that breaking ball is going to kick my ass, I need to get better hitting those pitches. And then, you're looking at AAA, a lot of fastballs, a lot of, hittable pitches. So if you're the Yankees, you want Jason Dominguez to see that next level, because at least it gets him in the idea and in the mindset of, I'm not the best player on the field anymore. You know what I mean? Like right now, every time he walks on the field in AAA over the past 8 games, he's one of the best players on the field. You get to the MLB level, you may not even be in the top half of the best players on the field. So, it's definitely a situation where I think he will benefit tremendously. And also, not even the offensive side, we're going to see if he can play center field in Yankee Stadium. It's a lot of ground out there, and he's fast. He's got some good defensive tools. I want to see if he can man that position. If he can make some nice plays, he gets used a month of playing outfield in Yankee Stadium, even some other MLB ballparks, is going to give him essential experience because he'll know, okay, I got to position myself here. I know how to do this. I got to do this better. Get used to the atmosphere. Like, in my opinion, when you have these rookies getting promoted, getting called up, their initial experience in Yankee Stadium, their initial experience in a ballpark, you're going from a ballpark of maybe a couple thousand to 50,000 people. You know what I mean? Like, that's a big difference mentally, being able to take on that level of pressure. And I think giving him that month to shake off the jitterbugs, like shake off the jitters, and then head into 2024 being like, okay, I know what to expect. I know what the roll call is going to be. I know what the fans are going to say. I know what, you have a little bit of experience just facing that type of adversity, which can be overwhelming. Like, look at Joey Gallo. Look at some of these guys that couldn't handle the smoke of playing in Yankee Stadium, of playing in the Bronx. This gives him a little bit, like almost like a get out of jail free pass. If he struggles, nobody cares because we want to see them struggle right now so they don't struggle in the future. We're not going to boo Jason Dominguez now, but I guarantee you if he starts badly in 2024 and he had no experience going into it, people are going to boo him because that's just the way Yankee fans are in the Bronx. They'll boo anybody, no matter how good of a prospect or how good of a player they are. We've seen them boo Aaron Judge last year, for God's sakes. Like, that's the truth. So I'd like to see them give a little bit more opportunity to some of these guys. Dominguez, while it is definitely premature to elevate him in some respects, I do think that it's a net positive to give him those opportunities. What are your thoughts about that? Just the mental kind of familiarity it'll help him with, but also seeing him defensively in center field. I think that's something that we're not really talking about a lot.
Yeah, I agree. The Yankees need to kind of understand what they're going to look like defensively, especially because if him and Pereira are both not capable of playing center field long term, you're going to have to make a choice there, right? So you kind of want to see what you got. Now, I don't want to put that out there because I understand that's that's a very preemptive. Like, that's me just like throwing out a lot of negativity that, quite frankly, we don't have to worry about a problem that doesn't exist right now. But one thing I will say is that one of the things that they have with Jason Dominguez is that he has done a really good job with hitting certain, I guess the word would be, like key performance indicators, like things that you want him to be good at, right? Which are swing decisions, right? That's the big one. In terms of his zone swing percentage is at 70.4%. That's really good. His chase rate is at 21.2%. Again, that's super good. His whiff rate, 26.8%. That's better than average for guys at the AA and AAA level. And his strikeouts have gotten better as the season has gone on, which that's a progression you'd like to see. The results are fine. 121 WRC plus, the 377 on base percentage. Those are really good. I overall, the way I view it is that the Yankees have a guy in Jason Dominguez that is, for the most part, the process has been significantly better than the results, right? And you have a guy that, for the most part, has done a lot of things that top of the line prospects do. Hit the ball really hard, make really good swing decisions. He has like 39 stolen bases. The guy does a lot of things really well. Great athlete, great player. And you're looking at him and you're saying this guy could be our future. If he's a legitimate like 115 to 120 WRC plus hitter in the outfield, and he could be even more than that, and he could provide great speed, good Lord, that's going to be a perfect fit in Yankee Stadium, especially considering that, the Yankees don't have to rely on him to be that top guy, and he can kind of hit in the bottom third of the lineup when he comes up. You obviously have guys like Austin Wells, and this also affects him because now the Yankees have an open roster spot with Donaldson off the roster right now on the 40-man, and if Bader gets selected, which I imagine that's going to happen either today or tomorrow, because if they don't do it today or tomorrow, then he's not postseason eligible for whatever team claims him. So I imagine that'll happen today or tomorrow, and that's perfectly in line with when the rosters expand. So, hey, that opens up a 26-man and another 40-man roster spot. And you can get, you can get a little creative here. You could option some guys. Maybe they send Cabrera down to AAA to get every day at bats. That could be a thing they do. I'm curious to see kind of how they go with this. But overall, this is just an opportunity to allow them to play younger players. And I know that there's going to be some people in the comments who are like, well, how do you know they're going to do that? Well, so far, they've done a pretty good job with that, right? Pereira, Peraza. I think Peraza's only had one off day. Pereira hasn't had an off day yet. Obviously, Volpe, they called them up to start the year. A lot of the, this isn't us just kind of making stuff up of like, ooh, could they call up Wells? Ooh, could they call up Dominguez? there are reports out there, right? Brandon Cuddy reported that, Wells is basically all but a given, and that the conversations for Dominguez have reached, Hal Steinbrenner. And if you're Hal Steinbrenner, you kind of want to call up Jason Dominguez. No, you want people to want to still watch games and show up to the ballpark. So from Hal Steinbrenner's perspective, this is the right call. That is a call that's going to help him financially, and I think it's the right process move. Look, if Jason Dominguez comes up and struggles, you can always just send him back down to AAA next year, right? And he has to be on the 40-man roster anyway soon because he's Rule 5 eligible. So overall, Alex, I think this is something that the Yankees, not that you should celebrate the Yankees for putting Harrison Bader on waivers. They should have just traded him, and that goes back to Hal Steinbrenner not allowing the Yankees to sell. But, they're making the right choice. They're not buying the sunk cost fallacy of hey, we didn't trade Bader, so we can't put him on waivers. You made a mistake, fine, own up to it, and still make the right decisions after. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to look at it. Is they made a couple of really bad mistakes, and they centered around, we should have traded Bader. We should have tried to trade some of these guys that are assets on contract years, to teams that could actually use them. We were not going to the postseason. We knew this weeks ago, though. For some reason, everybody knew it but the Yankees. Everybody knew the Yankees were in trouble in June, except for them. And that's kind of where, they have a chance to make the right decisions here. It's just a matter of actually doing it. And like you said, if you're Hal Steinbrenner, Jason Dominguez is going to pack those seats. He's going to fill those seats because people care. People want to see Jason Dominguez. People want to see your top prospects. That's going to be a financial positive move. But if you don't bring up Dominguez and you put IKF in center field and you run him out there every single day, no one's going to give a rat's ass about what the Yankees are doing on a day-to-day basis. Winning games doesn't matter. We're out of the playoffs anyway. Give your prospects time. And look, Aaron Boone said it yesterday. He literally was this is the direction we're going in. We're calling up the kids. We're calling up the youngsters. That is the path they've chosen. So now you either commit to that path, you commit to that strategy, or you look at yourself and say, we're going to keep playing both sides of the fence, and that's not ever a good idea. So I'd love to see them call up Dominguez. I think that would be a beneficial move for them personally. But at the same time, other guys here Austin Wells, he keeps getting mentioned as a potential person to call up. If you call up Austin Wells, where are you putting him? Are you putting him at catcher, or are you thinking about putting him maybe at first base? What do you think about that?
Yeah, so as of right now, I think Austin Wells should be given this run to catch, right? And I think that him being able to play first base is only going to help him stay in the lineup, right? Next year, Jose Trevino is expected to come back from wrist surgery. I know that you're not going to expect Trevino to go out there and hit a lot, but he does hit left-handed pitching well. And that's something that's going to allow him to come into the lineup against lefties, and I think Garrett Cole's going to want to throw to Jose Trevino, and understandably so. Jose Trevino is the best defensive catcher in baseball, arguably. So, it allows Wells to go play first base occasionally. I do wonder what that means for Anthony Rizzo. I wonder if that's their contingency plan, if Rizzo, either A, they trade him, or B, they just don't re-sign him after next season. They have some catchers in the farm system. Obviously, Ben Rice is the popular one, but I don't know if he sticks at the catcher position. The guy that I think you really have to start paying attention to is Agustin Ramirez. Agustin Ramirez has really put together a great season. He's come all the way up from Tampa with single A to high A with Hudson Valley. And then he went to double A with Somerset. Got off to a slow start. His WRC plus is still 89, but if you look at his last 14 games, 12.5% strikeout rate, 10.9% walk rate, 286 average, 375 on base, a 132 WRC plus. That's encouraging, right? And he's stolen 11 bases. This is a guy who is a catcher and still running a little bit, so he's got really good contact skills. His max exit velocity down with single A was 113.9, which is the fourth or fifth best mark. I think Chaparro might have a better max exit velocity, and I know Pereira, Judge, and Stanton do, but this guy destroys the baseball. And as a catcher and as a receiver, he's very good. So there are definitely questions about hey, should the Yankees just kind of nudge Wells into go play first base and we're going to let Ramirez be the catcher long term? I think that might be the right process move, but we'll have to wait and see. I think Wells is more than capable of being a steady framer and doing the job back there. I don't want to sit here and kind of write him off as a catcher, but I think this little sample size here, this nice run of baseball that he's going to get, is going to allow him to go out there and kind of work on those skills. He's going to be with Kyle Higashioka. He's going to be with, I imagine he's going to be with Ben Wertfed. I don't know if Ben Wertfed's going to be on the roster when that happens, but, he's going to be able to work with some guys who are good framers, right, and have been there for a while. Kyle Higashioka's been with the team. I mean, he's been with the organization for like a decade, right? He's worked with the pitchers. He's worked with guys like Cole. He's worked with a lot of the guys on that team. Current, former players will tell you that he's a pretty good catcher. The defensive metrics think he's a really good framer. Overall, I think that's a great guy to learn from. And if Trevino's still with that clubhouse, that's another great guy to learn from. So if you're Austin Wells, if you get promoted, which it looks like you will, this is going to be a really good opportunity for you to learn a lot, not just about yourself, but learn about catching and just handling a major league pitching staff. I know Carlos Rodon and Luis Severino both publicly talked about how much they liked throwing to Wells when they were rehabbing. I think Cortez also had a comment about that, but I'm not certain, so I don't want to definitively say that. But those are encouraging signs, and the framing data has looked a lot better in the last 2 years than it has in years past. So, Alex, really, my thing is Austin Wells the best catcher they have in the system just defensively? I don't think so anymore, but does he have the potential to be a really good everyday catcher? Absolutely. And you, of course, dream of having a left-handed hitting catcher in Yankee Stadium and one who's got power like Austin Wells.
You do hope, and the only way we're going to see it is if we actually call him up. So, guys, love your perspectives down below. Your thoughts on Josh Donaldson getting cut, obviously Harrison Bader being waived as well. I guess we didn't expect it with all the NFL cuts going on. I was like, hold on a second. Did I read that name right? Is that not a football player? Is that Josh Donaldson getting cut too? So I was confused as hell yesterday when it happened, but I'll tell you what, it's for the best. It's for the best of the youth of this team, the future of this organization, to see what we have. I'm always happy to hear your thoughts below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.